Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Short Game Long Talk, a video game podcast for a hectic life. As always, I am one of your hosts, Eric, joined always by
Jess.
Jess.
And today,
Yeah, you're taking over again. It's the year of Jess, 2024. I'm excited.
Yippee!
Yeah, so you take the reins, and I'm just going to sit back and comment on things.
All right. This month we played A Little to the Left, which has been on my wish list since it came out in November of 2022.
Was it that? Yeah, I feel like it was longer ago, but you're probably right. I guess a lot of those games have just come out in the last like 4 or 5 years, like this style of game that I'm mixing it up with some other ones.
I'm going to make sure.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to sound dumb.
Oh, it's all good.
November 8th, 2022.
Wow, look at you.
I was right.
November
I did
8th?
Yeah.
Or day before my birthday. I had no idea.
I know. But personally, I've always wanted it since it came out. Like I saw demos, I saw like streamers playing it, and I was like, I need it.
Yeah, it's very aesthetic.
And it goes on sale quite a lot. So if you ever want to play it, or if you want to play it soon,
it's also on Game Pass. Worth noting.
Oh.
Yeah, and I did play half of this game on my Steam Deck in handheld using like controller support, and it was fine. So it's playable for sure. So I would definitely, if you have Game Pass, you got it. You own the game. Yeah.
But basically, A Little to the Left doesn't have a story.
No.
The deep meaning story is finding the calmness during a hectic life.
Oh wow, like the show.
And you got a mischievous cat. That is a big point, is that there's a mischievous cat.
Yeah, I have some words about that cat in the spoiler section because I have some theories that come about towards the end of the game.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, again, there's not really a story behind it. You just have a bunch of different like cluttered items, cluttered drawers that you just declutter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely. How long did it take you, roughly?
I can check my Steam really quick. I think it was like 5.5 hours.
I think that's about where mine was, 5.5, 6 hours maybe. My Steam says like another hour and a half longer because Nina started playing it first. So I think that's about where it. And it, I would definitely recommend this game.
Yes.
So you played it, you beat it really quickly, right?
I immediately became obsessed with it, so I beat it like a couple playthrough.
Like 2 sittings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I did it. Okay. I think I did it in 3, and so for me personally, I wish I would have just taken my time and played this game when I wanted to. Instead of like, if I didn't play it for the show, I would have just like kind of chipped away at it over time. Because I got actually, it doesn't matter. I got so frustrated with this game for the latter like 25% of this game that it became not relaxing anymore. And that like nosedived my opinion on the game towards the end. But the first 75% of the game, and especially chapter 3, are like really relaxing, really great. But yeah, for me, if you're getting frustrated with the game, just come back to it later. Like don't have a reason to speed through it like I did. Otherwise, yeah, it's a really good game. I thought it was really fun, but yeah, there's some stuff we can talk about later in the actual spoiler section of what we liked and didn't like. But yeah, fair warning, like take your time with the game if you feel like you're getting frustrated.
My first playthrough, like complete just going through it, was 5 hours, but on Steam I've recorded 22 hours on it because I've gone back. I've gone back 100%ed every single thing. Because for some of the puzzles, there are like 3 to 4 different ways that you can solve things.
Yeah.
And also, I don't have the DLC, but there's this thing called Archive on there where it has all of the old like seasonal things.
Oh, that's cool.
So I went through and I did some Christmas tidying, some
Oh, nice.
like Thanksgiving tidying and some Easter tidying.
Yeah, I did not see that at all. I did a couple of the daily tidies, but that I didn't see the archive thing, and I will point that out to Nina when she continues her playthrough, because I reset everything. I beat the game, and then I didn't complete everything. I basically, like, if I felt the puzzle was worthy of my time, I would do all of them. Like, if I could see it and be like, okay, yeah, it's this or it's this within a couple seconds or like a couple minutes, I would then do all the solutions. But if I couldn't, if I was like, I don't see it, I would just move on. I'd be like, it's fine. I got it. I have to be. And then later on, I was like, that last like chapter and a half, I was like, if I can't figure out the second one within like 10 seconds, I'm moving on.
Out of there.
Yeah. I was like, I love that the skip button is let it be, which I think is very, very nice. I liked that a lot. But yeah, this game was good.
And
I definitely recommend it. It's very chill for sure. I'm gonna look up some other stuff about it. So whatever you were about to say, go right ahead.
I'll just keep that part what I was about to say for the spoilers. But what I will say is when you're playing, if you decide to play through this, it doesn't hurt you. It wouldn't hurt to have like a different set of eyes, because there were a couple times where I thought I was doing it correctly, and I would just turn to my roommate and be like, does this look correct to you? And they'd be like, oh, why don't you try this? And it would work.
Yeah, I definitely had a better time on my first session where I was playing with Nina. So,
Yeah.
and she was like behind me, like 6 feet away, looking at the screen, and it was still like better. So yeah, this game was developed by. That's what I wanted to look up. Was it is. Oh, literally on Switch, it came out on my birthday.
Oh damn.
That's funny. It is Max Inferno is the developer.
Yeah.
I have no idea. What other games have they made? Or is it just a little to the left? I think it's just this one game. Good job. Indie studio based in Nova Scotia, Canada. Good for them. Cool. Doesn't look like they have any other things. But this is a great debut title for sure. So definitely go check it out. That's our recommendation. Do you have any other things that you want to talk about before we go into an intermission? Forewarning for everybody, you guys know what the time is on this episode. It's probably going to be a pretty short one because even games we usually play that are short usually have some kind of story that we can discuss. There's maybe like 2 things we can discuss story-wise in the spoiler section. So this might be the shortest episode on record. Who knows?
Perhaps. But no, I have nothing. I just say that if you like, I have nothing, but I do. No, if you like being able to just like unwind and organize things, that's the biggest thing. If you don't like organizing things, maybe this game isn't for you. But honestly, if anyone who knows me personally will know I'm not an organized person.
Yeah. This is true. I'm not either, worth noting. Sometimes I am, but most of the time I'm not.
But I still very much enjoyed this, and also sound effects. I always talk about sound effects. The sound effects and the soundtrack for this was great. If you're a fan of just like hearing clicky things, perfect game.
Yeah, the sound design in this game is very good. The music is subtle enough. Sometimes it's a little weird and doesn't really fit the vibe, but it's never like bad. The music's never bad, but sometimes I'm like, they could have done a more chill vibe or something. Yeah. But sound design's really good. Art style's really good. Puzzles are above average most of the time to great. There's some that we'll talk about in the spoiler section. I think that's what heavily we've discussed off mic is like we're gonna do just a couple of our favorite levels and then close it out. But yeah, so with that, we're gonna go into the intermission and see you guys in a second. Okay, we are back with the intermission, and Jess has some choice words for a game that we were eventually going to play, but I'm not going to force her to talk about a game she doesn't like for an hour and a half plus. So take us away with your negative thoughts that I'm so excited to hear because I love I love negative thoughts on video games.
They're not all negative thoughts. It's a good game. It's called Assemble with Care. It's got a really cute story. The way that like the controls are and how you fix things suck. And so basically you're this. I'll keep it just like really short, but you go to this little town and they don't have any handy woman. And so you're like, I'll go around and I'll help people fix their things because that's what I want to do. And you go, and it's this town called Bellariva. You're there for a vacation, actually, but also to start up your handy woman business. And so you go to Bellariva and you're like, la-di-da-di-da, let me help you fix things. Honestly, the soundtrack is great. They've got great voice acting. For the most part, the fixing things is really nice. But there's the way that things twist and turn is so upsetting when you're on like mouse, because I'll move my mouse to the left and for some reason the thing I'm trying to fix moves down.
Okay. So did you play this on mobile or on your computer?
I played it on my computer.
Okay.
I bought it on sale for like $1.
Yeah.
So I was like, sick. It's free on mobile. I don't know how much it is on Steam, but it's not that expensive on Steam.
It's $15 or it's $8 on Steam like right now. I just checked, but yeah, like you said, it's usually on sale.
Yeah. Honestly, it's like great story and like I got kind of attached to some of the characters, but I just couldn't get over the control detail. And also, a little part of me started hating it because I loved A Little to the Left. And A Little to the Left, you didn't have to click through 5 pages of story just to get to the little like fixing part.
Yeah.
In A Little to the Left, you just got straight to fixing.
Yeah.
With Assemble with Care, you had to like flip through a storybook and then they're like, can you help me fix it? And then you press fix.
Gotcha.
So after long days and I'd be like, I want to play something. I'll play Assemble with Care. And then I'd be like, fuck, I have to listen to these people talk.
It's funny. I wonder if there's a mode where it's just the game, where like you just fix the stuff.
That's actually a great question.
Yeah.
I wish there is, but I did unlock all the achievements on that.
Yeah, I did see that. So you're done. You can close the book on that game and never play it again.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because when you were talking about the controls, I was like, oh, I wonder if it's better on. I assumed you'd played it on mobile, and I was like, I wonder if it's better on PC with mouse and keyboard. And then you're like, I played it with my mouse, and I was like, oh, okay. So I wonder then if it's better on mobile. I'll check it out and then maybe report back in the future. Because yeah, I've seen good things about the game. It seems like a very good game, but I can see where wanting to unwind after playing, A Little to the Left for however many 22 hours apparently. You'd want to just get to the point of like fixing stuff. So I get that.
Yeah. Also, it took me 105 minutes to play this game.
Okay.
So an hour and 45.
Yeah. That's nice.
And that's like split up. There's 13 chapters. It's very storybook-esque. The drawings and like all the art in it, super cute. Along with my download came the soundtrack, which I'm so happy about because that soundtrack is so good.
Nice.
Like,
that's awesome.
If there's one thing that these developers did right is their soundtrack. They did so good. Well,
that's good. I'm glad I mean, luckily, right, 105 hours is under 2 hours. Like that's, you watched a movie.
A movie.
And you got a soundtrack out of it at least. So
yeah.
Yeah, that it could be a lot worse, but yeah, I'm not gonna.
It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
I won't say that I hated it. It's just the way I couldn't get straight to the point and the fact that the controls just weren't working for me made my experience really bad. But if I didn't have such a short attention span and I had a better way of controlling things, definitely I would have been like, let's make this an entire episode.
Yeah. I get you. Well, who knows? Yeah, maybe I'll play it and be like, no, we have to talk about this, but I doubt it. I'm totally fine. It's really funny because there's so many short games I want to play that I'm like, I have to save it for the show. So like getting one back is kind of good. I can just be like, cool, I got one I can play. Um, do you have anything else you would like to talk about when it comes to Assemble with Care? No.
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm still playing Persona 3. I'm about to cross over, I think, the 55-hour mark. Um, I'm in September, end of September, about to start October, and the game goes till January. So I still got a little bit of time. I took a break. I didn't play. I played it yesterday, but I hadn't played it for like a week because I'm
Mhm.
like juggling games for the first time in forever. I've been playing Persona. I started Bloodborne again because I got a Bloodborne tattoo and I was inspired. Uh, then I started playing Pokemon Diamond, right? Yeah, Diamond. The Brilliant Diamond to be specific, to start working on that. And then there was one other game I started playing. Oh yeah, A Little to the Left was the other one. The episode where I was like, "What's that other game?"
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I was like juggling games, which was weird because I normally just like focus and like mainline a game. Um, but it's interesting. I still think Persona 3 is the best one to start with because especially because I found out like in Persona 5 you have your confidants, which are your social like links and stuff like that you talk to and build up their levels and stuff just by like hanging out with them and everything. Every couple levels in Persona 5 you unlock like an ability with that person, whether it benefits you, whether it benefits your party member, whatever. And in Persona 3 that just doesn't happen. um
Doesn't.
so it's like really you can just be like, fuck that guy, I'm not going to hang out with that person and it's not going to affect you at all, which is nice. And once I made that realization I was like, cool, I'm just going to hang out with the people that I like, which is I think how Persona should be. But it is. I do also think that your party members that are all social links should have some kind of leveling up system. But whatever. Um, I once I made that decision, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, because there's just a kid that's obsessed with food, and there's also a kid that's like wanting to date his teacher and stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to hang out with you. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to stop talking to me. Who gave you my number? Stop texting me. Like, it's so it's so funny. But like the old lady and the old man from the bookstore, sign me up. I'm gonna max rank them. They're great. I love them. I did max rank them, and they're exceptional characters. The little girl whose parents are going through a divorce. Of course, I'm going to hang out with her because she's sad. Of course, I'm going to.
Of
Um,
course.
but like, yeah, the guy who's just obsessed with food, no. The fucking douchebag TV host, no. I don't need to hang out with you. Even if your story's pretty good, I'll maybe do it on a second playthrough, like down the road. Um, but I do like that. And but it has kind of slowed down my like desire to play because I'm like I can't actually take my time with it because I'm not gonna like really ruin too much. Um,
Yeah.
and then what was the other thing? Oh yeah, there's like obviously with Persona, there's always the characters you can date and stuff, and that there's all the characters are very exceptional. Everybody is like an A minus or better, um, but like none of them are like S tier yet. Like early on in Persona 5, I was like Makoto, let's go, like that's the girl. But like this game, it's like yeah, they're all good. So it's very interesting. Like I love these characters and they're all very good, but I'm not like as inspired to finish the story as I was with like Persona 5, and that game was 160 hours. Like 100 more
Yeah.
hours than I have put in of Persona 3,
Percent
which
free.
yeah, which is nuts. Um but I do recommend Persona 3, and I think this would be like if you were ever actually interested, this would be a great like starting point because it's not difficult to get into it. And like yeah, it's just like you hang out with people, you do stuff. If you follow like a guide that I have that's like 10 steps that are like spoiler free to like make sure you're kind of like following these guidelines, you don't even have to think about most things, which is really nice. And then I'm playing it on normal, and I think there's two difficulty settings below that. So like,
I'm sick.
yeah, like I think it's literally like easy, normal, hard, something. in the effect of like extreme or something like that. And then like I think the bottom one in Persona 5 was called story. But there might be it might be called like guided or something like that. They changed it, but it's literally like, yeah, they're like, do you not like doing battles that are difficult? Here you go, like just enjoy the story. And who knows, I might end up getting to a point where I'm like, I just need to finish this fucking game and get to the story, because it is very interesting. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Like, of course I'm going to talk about Persona. Pokemon I literally don't want to talk about because it's going to be an episode.
Yeah.
So how have you started Diamond? Or yeah, I gave you Diamond. Have you started Diamond at all?
I opened it up.
Nice. Okay. Hey, it's starting. Yeah, Jess, when she came to record our last episode, I was like, did you get your DS and game back? She's like, no. I was like, okay, here's my copy of Diamond. So she's still going to be playing the original, which I'm very interested to discuss the differences, because now I'm like remembering, and I'm like, it seems very like they did change some stuff in Brilliant Diamond. Before we go to the quote unquote spoiler section, do we want to discuss like upcoming games just in case people want to dip out? I don't know why they would want to. This is like the least spoilery episode ever, but we've been kicking around some games to play moving forward. We have the Stanley Parable that we're going to eventually do with Chris. Again, I think I recommended we try to do Chrono Trigger. I don't know how you would we would probably have to set up like an emulator for you, or you'd buy it on Steam or something. That would just be a dedication to Akira Toriyama. You'll be gone in June, which is worth noting.
For 2 weeks.
Yeah, which will make recording difficult. So I just don't want to like worry about that. So Grace should be subbing in to do a game called Donut County, which is what? Do you know that game?
No, I've never heard of that.
It's a mobile game. It's fun. If you want to play it, and then when you come back, you can be like, hey, these are my thoughts. But it's a pretty fun. It takes like 2 hours, I think. What were you had a couple suggestions, right?
I cannot remember. I'm going to be completely honest.
That's all good.
Oh, Storyteller.
Storyteller, that's right. Yeah, and that's on mobile through Netflix. Yeah. So if you have Netflix and you have a phone, you can play Storyteller. And I think that's what we're going to do, right? We decided that's what we're going to do next month.
I believe so, because of the other idea that you're kicking around.
Yeah. Chrono Trigger will definitely be a bit more of an ordeal, and it might be something worth like playing on the side for you, just because it's like an old ass RPG. So it's going to have some like grinding and things like that. Well, actually it's pretty short, so you might not have as much grinding as you think, but there are 14 different endings to that game. So that'd be interesting.
And we all know how I feel about RPGs.
Yeah. They're just think about it as Pokemon. That's it. It's the same exact thing. It's the same thing. But yeah, you played Storyteller already, correct?
I've played a couple chapters of it.
Okay, cool.
But I haven't finished it because I'm trying to pace myself for the time that we actually do record about it.
Yeah, cool. I'm down. I don't know. I mean, it's probably pretty short. I doubt it's super long. My guess is like 3 to 4 hours tops. But cool. Do you have anything else you would like to discuss before we go discuss some of our favorite levels and my theory about that cat?
And our least favorite level.
Our least favorite levels, yeah. My least favorite levels. The last 25% of the game. Okay. So I think we'll go into the spoiler section. This is your final warning. If you want to hear absolutely nothing about any of the levels whatsoever on this completely non-visual medium that we have here, I don't think we're eloquent enough to describe these levels perfectly to where we would spoil them. But if you don't want to listen, you're only going to miss probably like 15, 20 minutes of the podcast anyway. So we'll see you guys in a second. We are back. Final warning for spoilers. Jess wants me to tell her what my theory is about the cat. that thing is an eldritch horror of some kind. Because at the end of the game, you're like stacking up those the Tupperwares, which I thought was kind of interesting. The cat then gets consumed by the moon, which is a very like eldritch horror thing. And then there's also so much time where the cat just kind of appears and it's like just destructive and everything like that. So,
swipes your shit.
Yeah. So that's my theory, is that it's like some eldritch being and we may be being like tortured. Maybe that's just the sucker for love hanging on in the back of my head. But
I was going to say, that sounds a lot like sucker for love is kind of still in the back of your head here.
But I do the imagery of it being like consumed by the moon. Literally taking it back to Bloodborne. The secret final boss of that game is called the Moon Presence because it's an eldritch horror that lives inside the moon. So, look at that. I'm tying all these games together. But yeah, that was my theory. So, fuck it. Yeah. Who's Pepe Sylvia? Yeah. So, tell me about your favorite levels, and then I'll tell you some of mine.
My utmost favorite levels have got to be like, anything that where you have to organize them by rainbow color. Or the what's it called? The ones where they have to be symmetrical on both sides.
That's very funny. I love
the symmetry. I loved those symmetrical ones.
I hated those. But a different reason.
For me, I loved them because you didn't have to go specifically with how anyone else would organize it. You could organize it the way you wanted to.
Yeah, we're very different people. That's why I didn't like them, because they just kind of get thrown on you and there's no guidance. And I was just like, I used the hints quite a bit, like in the latter half of the game, because I was just fucking sick of it. And so I swiped away the hint, like you erase it, and I was like, the fuck is that? I was like, there's no guidance on this. And then I started throwing things around. I was like, well, okay, I'll put this in the center. And I was like, oh, that locked in place. Okay, cool. It's locked in place. And I just kept moving stuff around, and nothing else ever locked in place except for the stuff that was in the center. I was like, the fuck is happening? And so I had to actually look up, like, I guess I was too dumb, but I had to look up. I was like, oh, okay, I just put them in any order that I want, even though the game has been training me to put things in the proper place. That's where I was like, what are you talking about? That's why like chapter 3 is that entire chapter is my favorite, because they're like, hang these keys, hang these tools, put these batteries away, put these things in the drawers, all that stuff, where I was like, cool, there's shapes. I can put stuff here. I like this. But you were like, nah, fuck it. Free flowing. Let's go.
Well, because like just being able to be like, okay, bow goes in the center, and next to the bow goes a button, and on the other side goes a similar button.
Yeah.
It was just fun to do.
No, I get you. They were nice. Like, I did like them, but I was just like, you pulled the rug on us to be like, these are a new style of level with like no lead up of like, oh, look, it's symmetrical. Like, if they would have done like, you know how sometimes they have stuff that you can't move? If they had like a couple things, like if they did the first level where it's like the entire left side is like one way and you have to mimic it. And then the next time because they did this level like 3 or 4 times, like with different things. My least favorite one was the Shamrock one. It was like so not satisfying because it was just boring. I was like, oh, it's all green.
That one, and having to count each leaf, I was to like make sure that it was the right thing.
Yeah.
I will say that was a little infuriating.
Yeah, that was a little weird. But if they would have done something like that to kind of like showcase like, hey, this is what we're looking for, and then giving me like free reign to just make whatever I wanted, then I probably would have been fine. But I just thought it was like kind of abrupt. I might have just been not in the right mindset. Whereas you figured it out. I was like, there's no structure. Which is funny.
This is a thing that I was gonna bring up in the first section, but I was like, I'll just wait until the spoiler section. The clues, being able to erase the clues.
Yeah, I like those a lot.
I loved that.
Yeah.
There's also, I accidentally got an achievement for it because I completely erased all of the pencil marks over the clue, and that's an achievement.
Nice, that's funny. You're just like, just get this one little piece in the corner.
I genuinely was like, what would happen if I just and
Yeah,
it like was all clean, and it was like achievement,
I
and I was
like
like, oh,
that.
okay.
That's yeah.
Um,
Some of the achievements were very funny. Of just being like, yeah, like using a hint 5 times. I was like, oh, cool. Call me out. Why don't you? But yeah, the hints were nice. Like they weren't. They usually only gave you like one solution, which was nice. So if there
yeah.
was multiple solutions, you still had to figure it out. I think my favorite, weirdly, was from the later. Like my favorite, like extra solution, was the one
Uh-huh.
with the leaves. Do you remember that one? Where
Yes,
it's like
with
a bunch
all the
different colors. So there's one that's different
with
colors, and it's like a shade from like the most dead leaf to the most alive leaf, and then you do one that's
most red
size.
to green,
Yeah,
and then size,
and
and then
then the
the
holes.
third one was the
I
holes.
liked
I
that a
had to look
lot.
that one up.
I liked that a lot. I saw it on accident because I had lined two up, and I was like, "That looks nice." I was like, "Hold on." So that was cool. I did like that. But yeah, once they went to like the nature side of things and went away from like the house stuff, I was like, oh, it's starting to drop off a little bit for me. But the levels were all still enjoyable, but I was just like, okay, it's starting to get it started to feel like a chore, which is why I was saying like you shouldn't, if you're not vibing with it, just take a break and come back later. Like I felt like I was doing homework at one point. But I still thought the game itself was pretty good. But I can see like from your perspective where you kind of like zone out and you're just like in it, like yeah, like you just fucking disassociate and organize things, and it's like bliss.
Great.
I was gonna say, so to get a little more into the key level, like
Hmm.
there was that was exceptional.
There's a lot of keys,
The one
key
where you
levels.
line them up like the size, you start with the size, and then there's one that you line up the holes, because there's like one with 2 holes, 3 holes, 4 holes, whatever, and then they fucking this was like magnificent. the the teeth of the key were
Oh yes,
numbers.
yes, yes.
That
I knew.
one,
I
holy shit. I was blown away when I realized that one. I was like, that was exceptional. Like,
know.
oh, it
I
was
know exactly what
crazy.
you're talking about,
That was
and
nuts.
that was the first thing I saw.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
But I was like, okay, let me get through the other two because I
Hmm.
I knew the other two immediately, but I was like, that key looks like a 5.
Yeah.
That key looks like a 3.
Yeah. That
Um,
was exceptional. That was so cool. I was like, what
yeah,
like, if you're not looking for it, like, unless you catch it. Yeah, that was exceptional.
that was sick.
Okay.
Yeah. Did
So
you have any that you didn't like other than the um
yeah,
symmetrical
the
one?
symmetrical ones were my biggest issue. But let me see. The one I was gonna point out was the stars at the end where you're like making the constellations. Um,
Oh, yeah.
that was stupid. That one was like it was just like a baby puzzle where it was like you grabbed the star and then you just moved it
Hmm.
around until it was like, oh, it goes here, and I'm like, that's not fun. Like, like I would have rather them like let me place it, and then
Yeah.
it like, oh, I'd be like, oh, that looks like a cat, and then like it does it from there. But yeah, it was literally just like move it around until like 2 lines kind of grab the
And then,
star, and then you're
yeah.
like, oh, okay, it goes here. I was like, this isn't me thinking. I'm just moving the shit around like when you're playing a point and click adventure and you're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So you just click on everything until like something happens.
Until
That's what it
something
felt like.
happens.
That was definitely my
Yeah.
least favorite level. I can't think of any other ones that like really upset me, but like that one, and then the early, like the first, like when I had to look up like the symmetrical one, I was like,
Mhm.
really? I was like, okay. I was like, I get it, but I was like, really? That wasn't showcased to me very well enough. But I guess I don't have the mind to. My brain wasn't in that space. I was like, put me back with the power tools, please. Let me hang things on the wall again. That was great. That was one of my favorite levels because I was like, yes, I see where everything goes. This is great. Everything has a place, and that's
Mhm.
that's that's what the point of the game is. But then it's also about like letting things be, which is nice. How about you? What are like some of your least favorite levels? You're like the
Boxes.
boxes. What
The
boxes? Which ones?
boxes. The end where you
Mm-hmm.
had to follow like the lines.
I
I
think
was stuck on that for like 30 minutes at a time, and I would like just rage quit because I got so
Oh, are
frustrated.
you talking
Because
about the like Post-it note ones where you have to line
no,
the? Oh, the one that's like it's like a little tracing thing where you have to like move.
yeah,
It's like a slide puzzle almost.
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
that because
That was pretty rough.
I would clear an area to put one of the bigger boxes in the area where it needed to go,
Mm-hmm.
and then I come to find out I put some boxes on top of that big box, and you can't move a box that has a box on top of it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
That
had to
I could.
continuously like click around.
Yeah, I think so. I got the first solution pretty quickly, but the second solution, yeah, I was like, God,
The
this
tape.
is yeah. I was like, this is a lot because like it's completely like the first solution's not too bad. You don't have to move too many boxes to like get it to. But yeah, the lining up the tape was awful. I also didn't really like the. Now that I'm thinking about it, I mentioned the post-it note ones. The post-it note
Uh-huh.
ones that weren't like a perfect like there wasn't just like 9 of them, right? That made like a perfect
Yeah.
square. The ones where they're like, yeah, line them up, and it was like like just a random mismatch of where
Random
they went. I was like,
order.
this is stupid. I was like, what? Like, I was like,
Also, there's
what sane person would make this? Like, you make it into a square or something. And I was like, this
those
is so
fucking like
dumb.
squiggles
Yeah,
that
that.
like went. Some of them went nowhere,
Yeah,
but that was the way it's supposed to look. Uh,
yeah, that was.
um,
I was like, there's nothing. There's no process here that makes sense.
that and also there was like this one level in particular. I think it was in chapter 5
Hmm.
where it was like different colored rocks,
Oh my god, yeah, that one was so. I thought it was a
and it
Punnett
was like
square. Like that was what I thought. I was like, we're
right
going with a Punnett square. We're going to put the solid colors on the sides and then the colors that mix up in the thing. But then there was the fucking top corner one, and I was like, this doesn't work. So that was
exactly.
so dumb.
I know. I had to search it up, and even when I searched it up, I was like, "This doesn't make sense. Why would anyone organize them like this?" Because it was like little green one, big orange and black one, red, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Okay," and then the
Ah,
next one would be like blue and black,
yeah. It made no
purple,
sense.
green. Like, what the fuck do you
The
mean?
only thing that made sense was the one that shared all 3 colors being in the middle. Like that was it. I
Yeah,
was like, this is so yeah, that one was bad. Anytime like some of the color stuff was nice. Like when you're like, okay, I'm gonna organize it by Roy G. Biv. Great. Love that. But then when they're
yeah,
like when one of the solutions was like, okay, this is a red and green book. Then you put a green and red book. And then like those are so stupid. Like I'm like, what is the pattern? Like am I matching so I'm starting the letters on the book are blue, but the book is red. So does
yeah.
the next book need to be blue? Like, or does the next book need to have red letters? Like that, I'm like, this is so dumb. Every time that
Yeah.
came up, I was like, I'm gonna solve it normally and then skip it. Like, I'm not wasting my time doing this.
Yeah. As much as I was just praising this game, I there were a couple times where I did rage a little bit,
Yeah.
uh, especially during my second playthrough when I was 100%ing it all.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I honestly, there was some where I was like, what the fuck other way can I? Because there are some that have like 4 different
Oh
um
God, yeah,
cleaning things.
dude,
And
yeah. When when the 4 stars pop up, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm doing one
and
more of these, maybe.
I get to like the second one and I'm like, okay, great. Now what?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. So I had to like search them up. And then when I did, I was like, what person would organize these
Mm-hmm.
fucking keys that way?
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, yeah, some of them were real bad, but that's why I think playing this game in like the way you're playing it now, right? Doing the daily tidies, like doing a level here or there. Like I think
Yeah.
that's the way this game should be played. And this game should be on mobile because I think
Yeah.
that's where it be best because you have your finger. Because like playing it on controller wasn't the best. Playing it on mouse was fine, but it still felt a little weird and less tactile. But like playing it on a phone or an iPad would be perfect. Um,
Honestly,
mhm.
I have a touchscreen for my laptop,
Oh,
and
nice.
I'd fold my shit, and I would just play it like it's an iPad.
Nice. Yeah. So I'd imagine that felt pretty good.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
and
that
maybe that's why I got so addicted to it was because I'm a
iPad
Gen
kid.
Z who's always a. I'm not an iPad kid.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
just always on my phone. No, I'm not.
um,
Says Mister needs to find a video before you eat.
I do. I have to have something going on when I eat because I don't want to hear the sounds of my own chewing. Um,
I
Look, okay.
iPad kid.
Yeah, I know for sure. I have so many screens in my office. It's crazy. I'm looking at 3 of them right now. I have my phone to my left, I have my work phone, and then I have a laptop and then an iPad. Not mine, by the way. It's just it's
Just an
the
iPad.
yeah. But yeah, that might have influenced how you played the game for sure cuz I can imagine like yeah, if I could just pick this up on my phone and do like 3 levels and be like, "Oh, cool. Moving on." Like play this game over like 3 months doing that, like that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But the way I did it, where I was like, fuck, I need to finish this game. And then I was like, I'd rather be playing Persona. And then I'm also like, I'm saving up money for a PS5 because I want to play fucking Helldivers 2 so
Helldivers
bad.
too.
Oh, God, I want to play that game so bad. Because yeah, that's a whole thing. Like I was there like day one for Helldivers 1, and it was like me and 1 or 2 other buddies that played it, and no one else I had ever heard about this
Ever.
game. And then this game came out, and it's like the biggest
Now
game on the
everyone's
world.
playing.
Yep. I'm like, fuck, man. I picked the wrong horse. I got my Xbox over here. But luckily I'm an adult with a new job and I've been saving money, so I'll be getting a PS5 soon-ish. Trying to wait for a deal, but that's a whole other thing. We also I forgot to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen
Oh,
in the intermission, but that we'll save it for another one because probably by the time we record Storyteller, I will have finished season 2, and we can just do a whole mini spoiler section of Jujutsu Kaisen. Or hey, actually, let's put some feelers out there. If you're listening to this now, I think we're about to wrap up, right? Like we have nothing else
yeah.
that needs to be said. If you want us to talk about anime specifically, and feel that's something you would want to listen to between the games, we can do that. That's fine. I don't mind. Like me and Jess watch movies together a lot, and then watch similar animes. We would have no problem doing that. If you guys are interested, I think that will do it for us. So if you want to wrap us
Yeah.
up, hit us with the socials real quick.
All right. You can find us everywhere, which kind of is just Instagram and Threads at shortlongpod. And in our bio at shortlongpod is our link tree that will link you to our Discord LFG leveling friend group. It's just a place to come chill, talk with other content creators and content listeners. Um, we've got a bunch of different channels. The most ones that pop off the most. Oh my god, the ones that pop off the most are video game deals and video game news.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
I've
No
honestly
wonder.
found
Yeah.
who would have guessed?
Yeah.
Um, honestly found a lot of like cheap sales going on
Yeah.
for a bunch of games through LFG. So
Yeah.
if you're interested, join us on our Discord.
We love throwing video game deals in there. There's
Yeah.
also a bot that just posts games that are free. Like anytime a game becomes free, that's not normally free. It's just like here you go. So that's worth mentioning as
Right.
well. So if you want just a free video game bot that tells you like, hey, this costs you literally nothing, come to our Discord.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So like we said earlier, our next episode is going to be a between the games because we've continued to manage 2 episodes a month, and we're gonna keep trying to do that. See if we can get to 12 games in 1 year, which would be crazy, seeing as our first year and some change was only 10 games, and we're on pace for 12. So we're gonna try to keep that up. Next game will be Storyteller, but our next episode will be a between the games. Not fully decided on what it's going to be, but if you guys would like us to talk about anything, let us know. But we have some ideas kicking around. Those are usually a little more chill. So if you ever have any suggestions for those, you can always let us know. And of course, if you are a first-time listener and you really liked us, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, whichever you prefer. Really helps the channel grow that way. And if you're a returning listener and you're like, hey, what can I do to help the channel grow? Share it around. Send it to a friend or two who might enjoy this game and spread word of mouth. That is definitely the most organic way for a show to grow and would be greatly appreciated. But as we always say here, don't forget to kidnap your friends.
See you guys later. I made a cold brew.
Nice. I'm proud of you.
Cold brew with almond milk. I'm turning into you.
Yeah, you are. What the heck? What have I done to you? Did you put flavors in it too, or what? Or is it just almond milk?
Caramel and vanilla.
Yeah, you're turning into me for sure. That's great. It's going to save you a lot of money.
Yeah.